How often do people that you know very well call you Cooper Linden?
Actually not. The people that know me very well don't. Anybody that reads my name for the first time does that. I think it's because when people read a name that they don't know how to pronounce, they go with the softer sounds. That's why when I'm reading a name I don't know how to pronounce, I go with the more aggressive sounds.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah, people see Lyden and they're like, well, I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
So if I'm wrong saying Lydon, that's calm. But if I'm wrong saying Leiden, then that's more aggressively wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you listen to both, you can kind of tell that Lydon could not be a name.
Yeah.
There's no way generations of people would walk around being like, yeah, call me Lydon. Like an IH sound. But I would think it would be cool if one day, I'm like complaining about my career all the time, and then one day I walk outside and every child 3 years and under knows who I am. And
Koopa.
Yeah. Yeah. I walk down the street and they're like, Koopa! And like their moms are like,
Who is Koopa?
Yeah, I don't know how, but he just cries until I put on your stand-up. And your stand-up is like not really cool for a 3-year-old. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry.
I think a lot of what you say is obscene, but the baby loves it.
Yeah. And they're like, it's just not cool to say that in front of kids. I'm like, I don't, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you look in the crowd, it's all adults. And they're like, yeah, and they don't even like it that much. I'm like, I know. But I guess it's like 3-year-olds. And like, do you think that makes you an idiot? And I'm like, bitch, it makes me money. And I'm doing Madison Square Garden to 20,000
babies. They're screaming all through the opener.
I mean, they're screaming the whole show.
And then you get up and they start being they're all napping.
Yeah, they all nap, actually. Well, because, most of them can't even speak or comprehend English yet because they're barely verbal. So it's just a bunch of kids screaming and are upset while, like, Dave Waite and, Eric Griffin go up and open the show. And then I do, like, an hour while they nap.
Yeah.
And the moms
you guys
are
think,
like, yeah.
You guys think you kill? Check out this whole crowd. They're all napping.
Yeah, they're all napping.
They're all soothed.
Yeah, and then the moms send me nudes afterwards. But I don't have sex with them because they're just busy moms,
And they have husbands and stuff.
Yeah, and they would never do that. But
they've never cheated on their husbands.
No.
But for some reason, they'll send you a nude of their fucking tight pussy.
They just, not even just a picture of their butt.
Oh,
that their husband is fine with.
Oh, that's nice.
Because the husband also is like, we really owe that guy for getting our kid to sleep.
And I don't want to send him my cock, but I will.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but I will.
And he just sends me a sad, flaccid pic.
Yeah.
And I go, I really don't want any of this.
The dad is sending me way more graphic footage than the mom.
The dad is a veteran, and he takes things to the limit, and he thinks he has to pay a guy back.
The dad one time sent me a video of him sticking a butt plug of his ass and jerking off while playing with his balls and captioned it, "You want some of this?"
And what's weird about you saying that is the same sentence that puts a 3-year-old to sleep. And I don't know why. I don't think the kids are all right if this is what the hell they're into.
I mean, if you consider Gen Z nihilistic, wait till these babies grow up weaned on a Cooper Linden stand-up.
They gonna hate everything. I was in an Uber the other day, and
first off, how is your broke ass gonna afford an Uber?
I happened to have money at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how sometimes broke people have money.
Sometimes broke asses have a little bit of.
You don't always have $0.
I thought for you it was always.
No.
But with your broke ass.
No. But we were going down the street, and then there was a lady in shorts jogging, and as soon as the Uber driver saw her, he slowed down to a running speed behind her and said, "I ain't looking." And then he stayed behind her the whole time.
Okay.
And he was a good Uber driver. He was one of those guys that was just sort of laughing at everything. He was like, "Man, you saved me. There's a crackhead. She was trying to come into my car and pet my dog." And I was like, "What is going on?" And I had to go. I got around the block and picked you up, so thank you. I was like, "No problem." He's just one of those guys. He's a good Uber driver because almost anything he said, he would just burst out in uproarious laughter. You know, he would like talk a little bit. He's like, I know. And then he would like just start laughing so hard. And he slowed down to stare at some ass. And I was like, now this is an Uber driver.
This is a real man.
Yeah. And he said, I ain't looking. I go, I know you're not. You're looking at the road. You're not looking at that ass. You're looking
You
at
actually
the road.
slowed down for me.
You slowed down for me.
So I can catcall this woman.
Yes.
You know, what if you were like, thank you for doing this for us, and then you roll down the window and you're like, nice ass.
Nice ass. Drive. Fast. We got to get out of here. It's such a wild move, like, to slow down the car while you're, like, driving somebody for work to stare at ass. It's such a wild move. It would be crazy to even be upset at him for doing it.
Did you tip him good?
I think I tipped him whatever I tipped Uber drivers.
You gotta tip these. Somebody was like, I was telling somebody that you like that most of the money from Uber is from tips, and they were like, "Shit, I haven't been tipping anybody."
Yeah,
and it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean you haven't been tipping the Uber drivers? It's like that's crazy.
Yeah, I tip an Uber or a Postmates guy because, I mean, they're doing something.
Yeah, I mean, they're bringing you food and shit. That's like the majority of their money.
Yeah, it's also kind of like if the service itself has a tipping function, then you should kind of understand that service is probably fucking over the people.
Mm-hmm.
So that tip function is probably pretty important.
Yeah.
But
it is weird sometimes where they'll ask you to tip and you'll kind of think like, you'll be confused for a second of like, well, am I supposed to be, you know?
You mean with Uber or in general?
I mean, like, if you're buying groceries or some shit, or, like, if you go to a convenience store and they have the little tap thing and it's, like, tip, and it's like, well, I got my drink from the back.
Yeah, I think it's becoming, I mean, I've heard tons of people say this, it's becoming more and more of a rule of, like, if I'm doing everything at a counter, like, I'm not going to tip you.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fair. I mean, it's even weird, it's like you'll go to a place to get a sandwich and then they have a tip function, and it's like, you just took the order.
Yeah, that's what I wondered, is it's like, is the money also, are they splitting it? Are they tipping out the guy, or?
Yeah.
But also, sometimes you go to these, like, coffee shops where they have, like, food in the back and shit. I think sometimes it's just one guy putting something in a microwave.
I mean, it's crazy. You go to fucking Pink Dot in West Hollywood, you pay, like, close to $30 for, like, 2 cans of Zyn. And then they're like, do you want a tip? And then you're like, the tip is now $5.
Yeah.
Which is how much the fucking Zyn should be.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, I can't tip you.
I cannot afford.
I literally can't give you $10. Like, I look at it, I'm like, I would just be giving you $10 right now? That's insane. Like, you haven't done fucking shit, which is not even like mad at the people behind the counter. It's just like, it's crazy the system is here with your prices. It's the most expensive liquor store I've ever been inside. You can't ask for tips.
I hope that, that enough rich people are on Sunset Boulevard that do tip those people,
Yeah, and you would also just fucking hope that the owner who's pricing everything times 3,000 because it's a famous liquor store, which I'm kind of fucking sick of. That shit is really fucking annoying to me. I don't know if that's a thing in Nashville where you have famous liquor stores. But there are so many in LA where they're like, oh, Pink Dot is the one that all the stars would, Sam Kinison would have them deliver alcohol up there. And then there's like Pink Elephant on the east side, which is like Charles Bukowski would have them deliver liquor there. And then like Circus Liquor. And it's like, you're just a fucking store.
Does Pink Elephant even charge extra, though? I don't think it does. I know Pink Dot definitely. Pink Dot, it's like crazy.
Yeah. I just don't. You might be right about Pink Elephant. I was trying to build an argument, maybe based on lies, but here's what I'm saying: is the idea of the whole Pink Dot thing of like, isn't it cool you're here? It's like, no, you're just.
Well,
you're a store.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of like, you named 3 famous liquor stores, and LA has consistently 4 million people. Per capita, that's like very little. Capita liquor store.
Just saying, I
was trying to think of
I don't want to idolize a business, a fucking store. Is my point. I tried to make it too big of an argument, and now it seems like I have no
Well,
point.
I mean, people do that with Erewhon.
Listen, exactly. I don't like it. Enough. You sell stuff. Stop it. Pink Dot closing down would not fucking matter. I like their sandwiches, but if they close down, I would just go to the fucking Arco.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same shit.
Pink Dot used to have, like, Kratom and shit. They don't have that anymore.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I asked them, and they're like, yeah, we don't sell that anymore. And it's like, you guys just suddenly got morals?
After getting us all hooked.
Yeah. I remember they told me that, and then I was like, I walked to the weed store nearby, and I was like, there's no way this place has morals.
Do they have Kratom?
They did. They only really have, I mean, they definitely have it. I didn't really look because I don't do the powder.
Interesting. Yeah, just someplace like Pink Dot of like kind of being up its own ass. It's like, I kind of avoid this store because I can't really, it's too expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
try and not come here.
I only ever go for sandwiches or if I need to get a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
I like need to in my like if I have 5 minutes to walk over there before work, you know?
And then you spend $30.
Yeah. Just so stupid.
Because
I mean, prime location.
Just because fucking Lindsey Buckingham used to get whiskey from there or whatever.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
How do we set up a store that becomes frequented by highfalutin folk?
Okay. All right.
What if a sex shop did that where they were like, man, Sherry used to come in here and get the biggest dildos. And then they have pictures all over the walls, like a sandwich shop of celebrities.
Elton John used to come here and get the biggest fist possible.
Every week.
And he would say, make it bigger next time.
We'd have to make
We'd have to say,
molds.
Sir Elton John, we can't make it any bigger.
Yeah. And that was before he was knighted.
Yeah.
We just respected
we were like,
him.
we knew this was going to happen. When that guy was knighted, all us here at the titty fuck porn shop, we were watching that shit like we knew it.
And we were a little upset he didn't mention us in the speech, just seeing how much we had to do with his success and mental health. But that's okay. He used to come in 3 times a week, get about 8-gallon buckets of lube. He was a sick fuck. But we loved him.
He would get 3 gallons of what he called ass lube and 3 gallons of what he called drinking lube.
That man never needed no dick lube. He just got fucked and drank lube until he died. And like, he's not dead. It's like, damn, where is that motherfucker then? Where he been? Where he been at? It would be funny.
They're so confused about all these old celebrities not coming in anymore.
It's like, yeah, you've been spreading libel about them.
Liam Neeson used to come in here every single day. What happened to him?
Whatever happened to his ass?
Is he dead?
Here. He let us whip him, fuck him, shit on him. We talk about it on the Twitter and stuff, but he doesn't come in no more. Whatever happened to him?
We posted a video of us shitting inside his penis, and he don't want to come in anymore.
This goddamn Hollywood folk ain't got no loyalty.
Ain't got time for me. My pappy came here during the gold rush.
Oh,
my pappy used his gold rush money to make a titty fuck store.
Mae West got us through the Depression. When nobody else had no money, she'd come in here and she'd pay us $15 a man to shit in her ass. To put more shit into her ass. Yep. Back then, the lube was tar.
Jacqueline Onassis used to come in and have us pierce her clit. She used to come and get her clit pierced like once a week. She's like, I keep losing them.
An old family sex shop is very funny. Like McGovern sex sundries, McGovern sex supplies.
I mean, they probably definitely had those in the Deadwood towns.
We've been in Madison, Tennessee since 1920. Selling sex.
I think I do wonder, like, you don't hear about these fucking like the Prince Alberts and shit. You don't really hear about those as much in like the old West towns, but they were into some sick shit.
Like guys with penis piercings in old West towns?
Yeah, but like I'm just using that as an example of like a guy getting like shitted on and stuff, and it's like that stuff was happening.
I would love to know about the kink culture of the Wild West.
Yeah.
Like what was going on?
I mean, they were probably like paying hookers to tie him up and pee on him or something.
Dude, that's so crazy.
Isn't it crazy though? There was a time where you could brag about fucking a hooker, and people would be like, "That's awesome."
That guy has money. Well, it's also crazy. I mean, it's like getting peed on in the Wild West is crazy because there's no fucking shower.
Yeah,
it's like you get peed on, and then maybe there's like a wash tub outside, but people are gonna be like, "You smell like pee."
But they all smell like pee. Everybody there smells bad.
Yeah, well,
that's one thing you have to keep in mind when watching movies about that era is no matter how cool Matthew McConaughey looks as a cowboy, he smells like shit and piss.
He smells like shit and piss, and he's got AIDS. He's got cowboy AIDS. That would just be crazy too, just in the Wild West, if they found out that you were getting shit on. What the hell? Like they wouldn't even. Oh my god, it would break people's brains, just like with the honor culture, but then also just like having never heard of it.
The guy that's into shit would come into the whorehouse like, give me the one with dysentery, give me the sickly one.
He took that poor girl in there and she just shit till she died. She had diarrhea on him about 5 times until she fell down, and he ain't even pick her up. He just left.
He put a gold doubloon in her pussy. In her dead pussy.
He left the gold in her pussy. Madam had to fish it out. She needed the money after all. But Mary Sue was about 45 pounds by the time she was done shitting on him. She's like a ghost.
Should we do an Old West episode? Or maybe we should do an Old West sketch.
Okay.
All right. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
On the podcast.
I think we were doing it. I think we were already doing it, but I like that you made it official.
Yeah, we should like write this shit out.
Okay. So it's the Old West guy that gets shit on?
Yeah. Or we could just do a regular...
Right before...
We could just be cowboys and just film it. Just have fun.
Yeah, sure. You want to make a Western movie then?
Yeah.
Are you suggesting making a Western movie?
Dagnabbit Boys presents.
I would like that.
It'd be funny to just like get enough money to start filming. Our podcast still isn't successful, but we get enough money to like make movies and shit, but everyone has like Dagnabbit Boy presents.
Well, it would be funny if we still do the podcast, except the podcast is shot like a movie. So we're on sets in costume and we're moving from different sets and locations, but it's just the same conversation.
Yeah, I mean, every week we're in space. I mean, imagine if like we're like, we pick different settings, We're at Stonehenge one day.
Yeah, and we're like both in tunics and we're standing like 120 feet away from each other and there's a lot of wind.
And then maybe occasionally we make reference to like, well, this is Stonehenge, which we invented or something, like
right.
To try to have some sort of context to it.
Yeah, but it's mostly just you being like, yeah, I was reading a book and then this lady started staring at me. And we just both have lavs on and we're just kind of talking to each other. I mean, I'd like that. I actually would. That's actually a great idea now that I think about it.
Hey, don't bring up my life on the podcast.
Sorry.
Don't bring up my shit.
I didn't mean
That's my shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's your life.
Yeah, that shit it isn't theirs, life's.
Okay.
If they want to experience some life, they go out and they do it them damn selves.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want some life, you go out, you do it your damn self.
Yeah, don't listen to this.
No.
Bitch.
I'm just saying.
Stupid punk
They come
bitch.
here. They come here for the ideas. You come here, you synthesize them ideas, and then you walk down the street and have a damn life for your goddamn self. Am I right?
Yeah, I do keep just thinking about the cowboy who gets shit on, and that's kind of his whole thing, Everybody else is like a marksman, where he's like good at gambling, and then
people are just like, where are you getting corn at?
And I get shit on.
You got corn in between your teeth. Where are you getting that?
You don't mind where I get my corn. You're covered in shit. Hell yeah, I am. That is kind of funny to like, because they have those back then they'd have the whorehouse where it's upstairs are the rooms and then downstairs is a bar and guys play cards. A guy just comes down covered in poop, but you could see a bright white smile.
Yeah,
through the poop.
Somebody's got a gun on him and they're like, any last words? And he's like, yeah, shit on my dick while I use the shit as lube. That shit turns me on. It's that's your last words?
Oh my God. Yeah, they're about to hang him in front of the town. They're like, any last things you have to say before we hang you here? He's like, I like getting shit on my dick and then the shit going into my dick and then I come out the shit with the cum and then I cum shit onto a lady's face and then she eats that poop and cum and then that becomes poop made of old poop and cum.
Old poop and new cum.
Old poop and new cum and then I eat that. And he's just kind of looking off into the middle distance. And
everybody starts clapping.
Take him down from there. Don't do it. He's a good man.
That's Walker the shit cowboy.
He ain't afraid of nobody. He can do anything. I wouldn't mess with him. He gets shit on. I don't think he's afraid of a duel. I mean, he literally eats women's poop. He's a disgusting man.
I saw him shot two guys. His gun was covered in poop. The bullets came out covered in poop. He was putting poop inside of other people's arms.
Just about everything that man owns is covered in poop. He walked into the saloon the other day and thought the spittoon was the biggest drink in the bar. He said, this is good whiskey. And we said, that ain't whiskey. And he said, like, whiskey's whiskey.
I got my own ingredient. He starts pissing in the spittoon.
He pissed in the spittoon and said, this is red. This is that red that'll swell up your head. And we said, nope, that's piss and spit. He said, this is going to make for good shit.
He's licking the bottom of the spittoon like, hey, I asked for no pulp.
Cowboy never goes hungry if he eats his own shit and drinks his own piss. It's like, what? What the fuck did you just say? Are you eating your own shit? I had to.
Two things you can't trust. The red man and a man who won't eat his own shit on the trail.
Well, God damn it, Clarence. I don't want to play cards with you if you're going to keep saying stuff like this. I mean, that's disgusting.
He's throwing down his cards. It's just like 3 of turds. Them is spades.
Yeah. 3 butt plugs. Them's is spades. Clarence, Jesus. Them's ain't. What is a butt plug? What are you doing? A bullet you put in your butt so you can hold shit for longer. Like, oh my God. That is kind of fun. I mean, I know there's like a stand-up trope, but like the first guy to invent the butt plug probably was like one of the grossest people that's ever lived. Just a guy that's like, because it probably was a dude. Maybe even in the Old West. And
It'd be crazy if you find out it's a woman.
It would be insane.
Yeah.
It'd be an insane thing for a woman to invent. It's very much a dude thing to be like, plug my ass. Close it up. I'm ashamed of it.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never used a butt plug or anything. I know a couple people that have. Kind of sounds like I don't understand the point of it.
I haven't. I don't really understand it. Well, it's not that I don't I mean, it's like the point
is the prostate, but I guess also the asshole has a bunch of like sensitivity in it or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess women use them. I think it's just sustained stimulation. So like if you're doing other stuff in sex, you got something going on back there the whole time.
But like also like I guess if it vibrates, that makes sense, you know?
I think just having it back there is still intense.
Yeah, okay.
We should start walking around plugged. A lot of porn stars do that.
Yeah, so they can, keep their asshole, loose enough that they can fit penises in there.
Well, they just go to the market.
And that's where we can put our money. We don't, because people are saying take your money out of the banks. What if we put in a butt plug all day, get our assholes loose, and then put all our money in there?
We could maybe get a butt plug that opens up and it's a wallet.
Oh,
so I could go at Ralph's and they'd be like, okay, it's like $39.60, and then I'd be like, fuck, and then I'd pull out a shit covered butt plug and open it up and be like, isn't this cool?
Yeah, I just came. When I pulled that shit out, I came.
I don't know if you know, but when I pulled that butt plug out, I fucking came. You like that shit? Anyway.
She's like, I'm 15. I gotta call another guy here to hold your cigarettes. I can't even handle your cigarettes.
I'm like, man, they got kids up in here. I'm trying to be plugged up in the market. I like hearing about those people that go to jail for doing that.
Go to jail for butt plugs?
There's people that have those vibrators that are connected to a phone.
Yeah.
And they go out into the fucking mall. Then their boyfriend's like making them come in public. And sometimes they'll like squirt on the floor and like leave pussy juice on the floor of like a Five Below. And then sometimes those videos get out.
And then Mr. Bean shows up and trips on it.
And then Mr. Bean shows up and he's like, thinks it's oysters and then tries, he's like, and then falls back.
It's this mute man. This Helen Keller ass guy is here and he's eating my pussy juice off the floor.
Okay, that's actually the funniest thing possible. Now, actually, I'm just thinking about Mr. Bean with the vibrating butt plug that's being controlled by his boyfriend. And so it's the same movie, but he just has a vibrating butt plug in the whole time. Where like when he's in like the train station restaurant with the oysters and the prawns that he doesn't like, he's like looking at it, but then he's also like, that's good stuff. We need to talk to
Michael.
No, that's not his name.
I think it is.
No.
What is his name?
It's fuck.
Thaddeus Bean?
No. God damn it. He has cool cars, I'll tell you that much. He's a car guy.
Is he?
Yeah, like a British car guy. Look up his name. What's his name?
Oh, it's Michael Atkinson or something?
It is? No, it's Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, you're right. Rowan Atkinson.
That's why I was like, it can't be Michael. He doesn't have that kind of name. Yeah, that man is an absolute treasure, and if he played Mr. Bean with a butt plug up his ass...
I think, he's 70 years old. It would be really funny to see an elderly Mr. Bean.
He's aged well, though.
Yeah. He cucked some famous, British comedian.
Really?
The guy on Netflix. A caster.
A-caster?
A-caster.
Oh, yeah, he has a joke about that.
Yeah,
He has like a whole joke in his special about it, I think.
I haven't watched any of his stuff. People say he's good.
He is.
Okay, then, all right. Well, we got the Dagnabbit Boys recommendation for James Acaster.
Yeah, that's a Dagnabbit Boys guarantee, James Acaster. He released like 3 hours at one time, and they were all pretty good from what I remember. I remember really enjoying it.
So yeah, British people will just be like, these are my 2 hours, and they're all it's all like connected. And it's like, that does have to be so much of an easier way to do comedy.
It's like writing a book instead of kind of writing it with the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, when they're good at it, it's great.
I mean, I feel like an American comedian sucks if he's like, I had to go to Britain. That's where they'll appreciate me.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is crazy because I can only really think of 2 guys and they do not suck.
Well, it's just sort of crazy to me to be like, I got to go to Britain where they appreciate my sensibilities more. It's like, you're American.
Yeah.
How'd you fuck up that bad? You can't make Americans understand you?
You're also like a novelty act. You know that, right? You're American.
Yeah, that's actually very funny. You're a fool to them. You're a gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think American comedians will go there sometimes if they're shitting on America a lot in their act.
Right.
So they are taking it literally to like love it or leave it.
Musicians will do that, but that seems different. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Maybe we should go to Britain so they could understand the cowboy that eats shit better than Americans could,
I mean, yeah, if we went to the mean streets of London, I mean, we live in California, so it won't be that crazy because, California is a war zone. But I've heard about some of the stuff happening in London that it's like, this is almost a California level. but not quite level Warzone.
It would be funny to go to London and they're like, you gotta watch out. It's like, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. The club I go to every night is in the sex trafficking capital of the world. There's a lot of bad people. It's fine. You guys are fine. You guys literally don't do anything.
I do remember a friend of the podcast, Terrence, told me about meeting a British dude from like a really shitty part of London. Like the shittiest part of London.
The ends?
Yeah.
The ends, prof?
Something like that. What do you know this? Do you know this already?
Well, Terrence would say the ends a lot, because I think that's the shitty part of London. That's like their hood.
Yeah.
From the ends.
And
which is like sweet little cottages. They're just a little dirty.
Well,
it's their hood.
I remember looking up like the crime level there versus the crime level in where Terrence is from, and it's like even higher.
Terrence's neighborhood is higher?
No, the ends is higher.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, if it's like the worst in all of London, that would kind of make sense, right?
Boston is like weirdly safe in a lot of ways, I think.
But
also, I think like it's one of those things where it's like the shittiest neighborhood, you're always going to run into like really horrible things. More so in America than you probably are in London.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how they're...
I think their crime's different.
Yeah, I mean, it must be. I don't know, like, their, like, distribution of, like, low-income communities, because if it's all just, like, centered in one place, then
I think it's like...
You know, it might have, like, a crazy amount of crime.
I was looking it up. I think it was, like, North London or something is really rough. There's, like, a couple parts of London that are more rough. I mean, there's a period where London just had, like, in the 19th century, there's, like, slums are, like, insane to read about. You had to, like, take a boat to go to their slums.
Yeah, what's that? Didn't Dickens write about that?
Yeah.
What's that called?
Oliver Twist, but there's a...
Yeah, what's that area called?
I don't remember. I remember reading about Dickens having to have, like, multiple armed bodyguards when he went there to research it.
Yeah, I like hearing about that area where they're like, it was the worst place on earth.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. Like, at a period, there was more murders happening there than anywhere on Earth.
There's a bunch of dead cows and shit. Yeah, that just seems like their, like, first try at, like, a packed community, and they didn't really figure it out.
I mean, there's a kind of equivalent in New York, but it definitely wasn't as bad. What is it? The Bowery, or what's the neighborhood called?
I think you're right. Sounds right.
It's like, it's in the Bowery, but there's, like, a specific, it's like something, there's like a number in front of it. But that, I think there was one tenement there. There was like one slum in there that was like the only place that had similar amounts of murder as that part of London.
It's interesting to hear about certain places at certain periods, like just certain parts of New York in the 70s where like where kids were just lighting buildings on fire.
Yeah, like the Bronx, parts of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like East New York.
Yeah, there were just whole parts of the city where there was like it is not an exaggeration to say it was literally like a war zone.
Yeah.
Because like you're just walking through like blocks and blocks and blocks of like no businesses. Of like, these are just buildings full of people stealing and burning them down.
Well, I think like the South Bronx in that era, the like murder rate was like in the like 200s because so many landlords were burning down, like 200s per like 100,000 people, because landlords are just burning down their places and like people are just getting just burnt alive.
Yeah, I think it's hard to realize nowadays in like kind of an age of information and like kind of everybody having a cell phone and stuff like that, of them just being like, yeah, some of the worst crimes against humanity happened in this neighborhood and nobody cared. And you're like, how'd that happen? And they're like, well, it just did. And nobody knew about it.
Property values were low.
Yeah, it's like
you know?
It was the 70s, and there was this weird mix of like sort of the banal evil of business, but also not like cameras and like good policing and DNA. So just horrific acts of violence were extracted out upon people, and that's what happened to my mom, and that's how it is.
I think Trump, I think a lot of those buildings were bought by Trump, but I might be wrong on that.
Well, his dad always owned low-income housing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Trump was kind of getting into the low income market, like kind of in Queens and Brooklyn and stuff like that. But then he didn't like dealing with poor people. So he just started doing high end stuff.
Oh.
But his dad made all his money by being a slumlord.
Okay.
But also, like, when you're a slumlord, you're sort of like drenched in lawsuits and like constantly, and you win them.
Yeah.
But you're kind of like constantly just like fighting all these lawsuits to keep fucking over poor people. And I think, not that he's a good guy, but Trump Jr. was just like, I don't want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
It's like exhausting. He's like, you raise the rent and you kick out all these poor people and you fuck them over, and it's like you're constantly having to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just sell to rich people, and if they have an issue, they'll just leave or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it was easier for him. And then that, I think, kind of made because his dad was like, I think, a better businessman. Not that he was a good person, but business-wise, he made like a lot of money. But he was like fine to just kind of be low key and do all this shitty stuff. But Trump, I think, wanted to be more famous. So he's like, I can't really be a slumlord and also be famous, you know? It doesn't really work for the business. So I'm just going to get out of here and sell to like rich white people. That's why he went to Manhattan, because his dad was always in like the boroughs.
Yeah.
But then he's like, no, I want to like Manhattan. And at that time, Manhattan was like a mess.
Yeah.
It was like a scary mess. And that was the one thing Trump was right about, is he was like, this is going to have like the biggest real estate boom in the world. Like Manhattan's going to go crazy with real estate. And then it did.
It's crazy that it's, because Manhattan was probably the least scary of the boroughs at the time, too. It was like, maybe Queens is a little better. I don't know. But in terms of like, their bad areas, I think, were more spread out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to remember, it still is a big place. So, like, you know.
And it is still, like, it was, like, there was, like, insanely rich parts.
Yeah, there were parts of Manhattan that were nice.
Very rich now that, like, in the 70s, it was, like, you would have to live in an abandoned building, and gangs of greasers would kidnap your daughter.
Yeah. But there's still like those like historically rich parts of Manhattan that are just sort of always rich, which is an interesting time to think about. Of like in like the 70s when New York was so dangerous, there's still these like, you know, like Rockefeller type families that have just like lived in the same brownstone for like 100 years, and they're like, oh my.
You know what is crazy about New York being dangerous in the 70s is also every city was too. It was like, I looked at it like in like 70s and like the 1970s, like a list of like the most dangerous cities. In terms of pure crime, LA was number one, and then it was New York, and then Chicago, then like Philly.
Yeah, LA at that time seems like New York seems more like cinematic.
Yeah.
Because it's like big city and it's a little more crunched in, but then LA is just like, what the fuck's happening out there?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? They're just murdering people. People are just getting serial killed. I mean, even my dad would just tell me about being a teenager in the 70s in California, like the crimes he committed. And you're like, I think everybody was just sort of committing some crimes.
I think San Francisco had like the most muggings of any city. San Francisco and like, it was like San Francisco and like parts of New York were like the mugging.
I guess they still have that history. I mean, today it's all the smash and grab guys.
Yeah, but smash and grab is like, I don't know. It's not quite mugging.
No, but I'm just talking about like just like small time.
It is weird that even people in Oakland are like, you go to San Francisco, you get your car windows smashed. So you live in Oakland.
Well, yeah, but they smash in San Francisco because it's a reaction to getting pushed out to Oakland and Vallejo and everything.
Yeah.
That's why, like, San Francisco is, like, just this weird place where it's been bought by, like, big business. And so it's just either, like, really rich stuff or then people just coming to be like, well, that's where you rob people.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the people who ruin this city are. So you go over there and you just rob anybody you see.
Yeah.
Because they're all pieces of shit, which is a cool thing.
That is what's awesome about San Francisco.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you push all these people out of where they were born, and then they come back to ruin your businesses and steal from your cars.
Yeah, and then they write their manifesto about how we're going to take California and turn it into a war zone, which is how it currently is. It's a war zone.
This is your new perspective, yeah.
It's a war zone out there, and if you live in California or New York, I would get out while the getting's good, because if you think the war zone's bad right now, wait, because artillery's gonna rain down on all of us.
Those are just the biggest pussies in the world. All those fucking bitches that moved to Austin that were like, I got out. It's like,
it was scary over there.
You pussy. You fucking bitch. Like, what would you have said? What would they have done in the 70s? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when it was like really crazy, or even the 90s. You know what I mean? It's like,
here's one thing that I was thinking about the other day, that like homelessness has probably had a bigger impact on like art than, because homelessness is like the biggest public crisis right now, like the biggest humanitarian crisis in America.
mm-hmm.
And we're in LA is like the epicenter of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a big...
Do we have the most homeless people?
Per capita.
Okay.
We have the most, like... It's like the only place that has more homeless people per capita is fucking Eugene, Oregon. And Eugene, Oregon is so much smaller.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I don't know.
Everybody outside.
But...
Whole city outside.
I was thinking that's like... We all are kind of in this position where it's like we all want there to be some sort of divine punishment, but everybody wants... Like, both sides have entirely different views of who needs to be punished. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, you just hear so many people who are like, well, I mean, it just sucks because at the end of the day, those people on the street have to take responsibility.
Yeah. And that's...
It's just this weird... It's like, I would even hear that when I would talk about gun violence with the charity, is people would come up and be like, well, the problem is, like, nobody goes to church anymore. And so, like, you know, they need to start going to church, and that's why there's, like, all these mass shootings and stuff. And you're like, people didn't used to go, you know, and I remember I was saying, I was like, you know, criminals believe in God.
Yeah.
You talk to most criminals, they believe in God. So, like, it's not a God issue. It's not an issue of going to church.
Well, yeah, I mean, the income inequality has become kind of more and more in front of us. Especially, like, I mean, just everything kind of just pushes it in your face, you know?
I mean,
if it wasn't for income inequality, there wouldn't be a huge bunch of incels and shit.
You can't have income inequality and Glocks with switches at the same time.
Yeah, we're in a bad part of history where we decided to take everybody's money and also be like, Glocks with switches.
Here's a switch.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You're 16. This pistol can shoot 1,000 bullets in 9 seconds. Do whatever you're going to do with that. But don't be a criminal. Okay. So, why are incels because of income inequality?
I think there's a lot of the perception, I think, with the internet, there's been a demystification of what why things happen. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of women are going for more economically comfortable people, which has always happened, but I think the demystification of it has really upset a lot of people. I think that's a big problem with dating apps. Is I don't know if it invented a lot of stuff so much as it made it public, which is like, I think making that information public, it's not good for the social fabric.
Well, I think it's one thing about making it public, but it's also like an amount of pre-choosing that's never existed in actual relationships.
Yeah.
Where, like, people on dating apps will be like, I'll only date a guy this tall that makes this much money.
Yeah.
But it's also like, if a guy that was less tall than that and made less money than that was really nice to them in person and they built a relationship, they'd probably fucking date, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's like this thing where you give people like some sort of menu where they have like some weird choosing power that they've never had.
You're also making an advertisement for yourself.
Yeah. So it's like, but it's all kind of a fake thing. And then I think that's why people end up sad and never actually get any real relationships out of it.
Yeah.
Is like, that's not how you're going to end up choosing your partner in most cases. and it's not how you're going to find one easily. Like it's just that's not actually going to work. So I think it's like I think you're right that like people do kind of make decisions based off that, but also in the same way, like it's kind of a made up thing.
Yeah.
Because it's this new concept of like all this choice we have because of our phones. And I think the incels kind of buy into that where they're like, well, that's all women want now. And you're like, well, that's what women on dating apps who are maybe given the option to write down a list of requirements might say.
Yeah.
Like if you have the option to write down a bunch of shit you want, you're not going to write down shit you don't want.
Yeah.
Even though you might, any loving long relationship is full of parts of shit that maybe you don't love in the other person. But love is accepting those kinds of things. But when it's all like on paper, it's like, sure, people will say that, but you shouldn't really buy that as like the reality of life.
Well, a lot of the on paper stuff is also like pretty unattainable goals for certain subsects of men, especially if you grew up like low income,
Yeah.
Like, it's like the six figures thing. It's like, well, what race do you think is more likely to have that? Like.
Yeah, I mean, there's an aspect of Tinder that starts to sound like, no sagging, no long T-shirts. No sideways hats. Then you can come in,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't know about that, But that's why it's just, that's why dating apps in general are just bad for everybody.
Well, I also think there's a lot of it's interesting the historical I think the hate on white women is almost a direct reaction to the unlifting the veil that white women are not any more morally correct than white men necessarily. Like there's no, and I feel like that was a thing we kind of accepted as fact for a very long time, and I think it's kind of woken people up to, I guess, the idea that just white people in general, regardless of race, are kind of oppressors.
Yeah, I guess that was like a weird turnaround of like racial awareness.
Yeah.
Is white people being like, hey, these white women suck too then. You guys aren't better. I mean, Bill Burr had that great joke about like white women cheating on white men, and he's like, you've been next to us for thousands of years of oppressing people, and now you're abandoning us?
Yeah.
He's like, you were here the whole time with the slaves, with the wars, with the abusing poor people in tenement apartments. You were there the whole time, and now you're just walking away from us?
And
I guess that's a thought about it.
Yeah, I think the like incel thing kind of does stem from like a lot of guys realizing of like that they assume that they can somehow get to the point in their personality that women they want, which necessarily that doesn't. There's a lot of guys that want women that they could never really connect with, and I feel like it's also become a problem of choice for them as well,
Yeah, I think that becomes a weird.
Devo has that song about it's like an old Roman parable about a dog that's given 2 bones, and the dog can't decide which bone, so it dies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that kind of thing where you have a lot of these like fat, schlubby gamer guys who are then like looking at like blonde, tiny sorority girls and being like, she'd never date me, and it's like you have nothing in common with that person.
It's like, what conversation would you have?
What would you talk about? Like, you wouldn't like that person.
I just think there's I think a funny thing about the incel thing is I feel like we always imagine them as fat guys, but they're most likely just like,
or
just
skinny
like they look
guys,
like they look like frat boys. Probably there's like probably not frat boys, but like maybe skinnier frat boys.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, still those guys, same answer.
I feel like if you knew what a lot of people on the internet who don't show their face looked like, you'd be like, this just looks like a guy you'd run into at the bank.
It'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh God.
Yeah, you're saying this?
Holy shit.
I thought it was people I don't really bump into.
Ryan said that? Oh my God. But it's also, it becomes this weird denial of self where it's like you have this like weird guy who's like into cool stuff. And then he's like, these preppy people don't want to fuck me. It's like, what would you talk about with them? You got to date a weird girl.
Yeah.
Go find a weird girl. What are you doing?
Yeah.
If you want to fucking...
But also, I mean, because of, like, the shutting down of, like, fucking a lot of social spaces and shit, which a lot of people have gone into, it's, like, kind of hard to meet people. And the way Tinder just kind of throws... I think a big problem, though, is Tinder throwing those, like, super hot sorority girls at you first. It's kind of fucked a lot of people up.
Yeah. I think that's why it's like, even if you're not living a great, like, even if you don't have a college degree and you're not doing well and you're not building a good career, it's like, well, at least try and get a job at a place you might like to hang out in. And then somebody will come in there or you'll work with somebody and then maybe you'll end up fingering each other.
Yeah, maybe they'll finger your butthole. And you could be the cowboy that eats shit.
Yeah, but it's like, try your best not to maybe work at a place you hate. Maybe if
But that's still going to happen for 95, 90...
It's still going to happen for a lot of people. But I'm also talking about, like, not even necessarily poor people. Just like if you're just like some white suburban incel.
Yeah.
And you're working at Staples. It's like, well, maybe work at a fucking GameStop or something, Maybe one small change that might, do something. But I'm not putting
we're very lucky to be, like, trying to do some sort of, like, entertainment or art thing. If you think about, like, who you'd be if you didn't do that, you'd be a guy working at the fucking hardware store.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy I'm a person that's been able to be cognizant of a passion he wants to pursue. I think that's the worst thing in the world, is if you're a person who just doesn't know what they want to do.
I mean...
Because then you're just absolutely fucked.
I think one thing that's the most infuriating about stand-up is it's an art form anyone can do, but there's almost an attempt by the hires up that it be priced out to the same extent any other art form has been priced out, They want the, like, they want the normal, boring white guy on the fucking recording on their fucking don't tells and stuff. They don't, like, it is interesting to see how, like, hood people are treated by the entertainment industry, where it's like, well, objectively, you want these people's perspective.
Yeah.
But no matter what comedy club you go to, there's kind of a level of racism towards a lot of more hood black people.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, like, less spots for them. And I mean, if the industry decided who was going to be famous, you would just have a bunch of people talking about how, Tinder's tough and stuff.
And you do.
And you do. And it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how the people that are making a lot of the decisions are, like, have the worst comedy instincts of anyone I've ever met.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you sad to meet a lot of people who make the decisions, because you're like, damn, this is like not only an idiot, but like a boring person.
Yeah, well, what is it? Frank Zappa says about the music industry going to shit in the 80s because the guys who used to run the record companies in the 60s and 70s were old guys, and they were just like, well, I don't get this weird shit, but the kids like it. So they were just taking more chances but then in the 80s you had record execs that think they understood the kids.
Yeah.
And that's like a big problem.
Yeah. That's the worst thing, is people that think they're a part of the culture. And it's like, you're not.
Yeah.
You're just disseminating it. But you need to think of yourself as a valve that, is opening and closing for whatever it has the most push and the most momentum.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that are like opportunists that think they understand, like, art.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like these people that are like, well, I got into managing just because, it's like I just love hanging out and I love comedians, and those people usually suck.
Yeah.
They usually just hang out with whoever is the most sociable. The most sociable comedians they find, and then they go, you're going to be big. And then you just have all these comedians who are like, hi, how are you? Yay! And you're like, okay.
Yeah, and I mean,
Okay.
you met the happy guy.
Yeah, you just met the happy guy.
Yeah, you met the guy who is smiling and shit.
And you missed out on
the sad guys that nobody wants to hang out with.
On the dumb retards with bad attitudes like us.
Yeah.
You are really missing out on the stupid fucks with bad attitudes.
You don't want to prop me up, a man who, if he ever gets successful, all my merch sales will be on the first of the month. That's what I was thinking about. That would be funny, is if you were touring and you had a certain act to just be like, all right, first of the month, for like the first two or 3 days of the month, merch is cheap. We have the first of the month sale. And you know what I mean by that.
Listen, my base is ruined at the beginning of every month. And then in the middle of the month, they are going to spend reckless as hell.
Oh, I was making a reference to welfare checks. I'm trying to say my base all get welfare.
Oh, I thought you were talking about rent.
But I could be talking about that too. Either way.
Yeah, because they'd lose all their money on the first of the month and they get a check in 2 weeks and go, hot dog.
Yeah.
Let's hit the Bianchi website.
Yeah.
And cash in. You would just have merch that just says, I just got my welfare check.
That actually is a funny thing to do, actually. I just got my check. My brother that lives with me didn't steal my check this month.
I'll wear it whenever I get my check. And I bought it when I got my check. And I'm a pawn it when I stop getting my checks. That's what the back of the shirt says. And I'm a pawn it when I stop getting my checks. You got the sugars.
I mean, I wasn't trying to make it a racial thing.
Well, I did.
You went there.
I did.
Every race gets welfare checks, Cooper.
No. No.
You're right.
No.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I have a completely made up idea of who is getting all the welfare in this country. And I also have a made up idea of what welfare does to me and my taxes personally.
And I also think welfare is $100,000.
Yes.
I think welfare is like something incredibly unreasonable for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason I think that everybody on unemployment is getting $2.5 million a year.
I think they're much richer than me for some reason.
I love that idea. Like, oh, these people just ranking it in, not giving a fuck. It's like I applied to unemployment. They gave me $4,000 for the entire year, which is crazy. That's impossible. That's an impossible number.
Yeah. But if you think of it in terms of how much like gum you could buy with it, it's a lot of gum.
Damn, I could buy a lot of gum. Fuck, I could buy a lot of gum. Yeah. Well, all right. I think that was a good episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty short. We maybe have one riff in us. One more riff. Maybe something we could post. Maybe some fun stuff we could post.
All right. Do it. You're the magic man. You know what to do.
I'm the magic man. I know what to do. All right. All right. What's some funny ass shit?
I know, right?
God damn it.
Fuck.
On a podcast, you just have to think of some funny ass shit.
I know. That's why we're not good at it. We're not talented. We got.
I think some
attitudes.
people, maybe they come to the pod with like a list of questions or like with like stuff they could talk about.
Nah.
We do not do that. The most scheduling we do is I show up, is Cooper says, let's do it at this time. And I'm like, all right. And then somehow I always show up 5 minutes late, no matter what.
Well, if we were doing it at your house, I'd be showing up 5 minutes late. So don't feel bad.
You better not.
I don't show up places early.
You better not. If we're doing it at my place, you're going to respect my place.
Hypothetically, I would be disrespecting your place.
Do not Dude, our shelf fell. Our shelf collapsed. The bookshelf.
Oh, no.
It looks insane in my living room right now. And I was trying to clean it, and now there's books everywhere.
So it fell and the bookshelf broke apart?
Yeah, the bookshelf collapsed. It just broke in the middle of the night, I guess.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so now we just have a bunch of books on the floor, and we're like, we have nowhere to put these. We don't have a closet. We don't have anything.
Well, you got to buy a new shelf.
Yeah.
How big is the shelf? Is it bigger than that?
It's not bigger than that.
Oh,
We should probably get a shelf like that.
that's not that expensive.
But yeah, my life is awful.
Well, no, I mean, you can get a new bookshelf. You can go to a Home Depot or Office Depot and get something like that.
Have to wait till next month when I get that check.
You guys could probably pool. I mean, I don't think that was more than like a couple $100.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all my roommates though are living paycheck to paycheck, I think. I am too.
Sure.
I really got to save.
You get a bucket, get, $20 in there every day. Bookshelf in no time.
Oh, that's a good point. We could do a tip bucket at the apartment.
That's what I'm saying. You get a bookshelf bucket.
Yeah, and then I go upstairs, I knock on Matthew's door every single day, and I say, hey, could you give me a tip for the bookshelf?
He says, I'm not staying here. I don't like it here.
Your bookshelf's not good.
That's a good bookshelf. That'll hold up for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's particle board, but I don't know. It's a bookshelf.
Yeah.
It works fine.
Anyway, I mean, we were trying to do a riff, but we just ended up talking about this bookshelf shit.
It's pretty funny.
It is funny that my bookshelf just collapsed, and then my roommate John, me and Joseph were like, John did this, and then John was like, I don't know what happened, and then I still kind of thought, somehow you did this.
I saw your roommate John on the street.
Oh, did you?
I was walking into Panda Express. He was on a phone call.
He's just always on a phone call.
He was on a phone call. I walked by and I said, oh, hey, John. And he said, hello. And then he walked by.
He does have that specific way of saying hello when he doesn't really want to talk.
I don't really even know if he recognized me. He might have not even recognized me.
He probably does.
He said hello.
He's like always on the phone. I'll come home and it won't look like he's on the phone, and he'll be like, I'm on the phone. And it's like, where's your phone?
That'd be funny to lie about. This motherfucker's always saying he's on the phone. He ain't even got AirPods in.
I have a funny thing we could end this on. I was in the subway in Atwater Village.
Keep watching.
Yes, I was in the subway in Atwater, not like the Subway sandwich shop.
Yeah.
And there's a homeless guy that hangs out there that always wears colorful clothes.
Okay.
And he pretends to be on the phone. And one time he pretended to get a call, and he went, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm in Subway. He's always in Subway.
He's always in Subway.
He lives in Subway. Why do you want me to think a guy's calling you and you're like, sorry, I'm too busy sitting at this table at Subway not eating anything? With all of my possessions.
Is it a real phone even? Or is he just holding his hand up to his face?
No, it was a real phone that it looks like it might be broken.
It's very funny because it's like, yeah, when's better? When you walk outside the Subway? Because you're only in two places, in Subway and outside of Subway.
Yeah. He's there every day. I think. I don't go into Subway every day, but every time I've been in that Subway, he's been in there.
Does he look like he's trying to sort of dress like he's not homeless? Is he trying to sort of...
You know that sort of schizo way homeless people dress when they think that this is what non-homeless people dress like?
He's got like a blazer on or something? Or
yeah, kind of. Blazer, covered, dirty.
Okay.
Has all of his possessions just next to him.
Yeah. But he's a businessman.
Yes.
He's just a dirty businessman. That's what he wants you to think.
Yeah, and he wants me to think he has important calls coming in, but he can't because he's inside of a Subway.
He's just one of
where
those...
you can't make phone calls.
You can't, famously, yeah.
You can't talk inside, they'll shush you.
He's one of those filthy New York businessmen you always hear about, those guys covered in grime that make big deals.
Yes.
What do I deal in?
The war zone known as New York City.
I sell dirt. I make $2 million a year, but I sell dirt. That's why I'm so dirty.
Oh, yeah. Stocks are up. Stocks are up with worms. Worms. You gotta buy high, buy low, sell high with the worms.
There's a big rain. All the worms came out, so my stocks are skyrocketing right now. I'm able to buy 2 Subway sandwiches, but I can't make any calls in here. You know that. Do not call me. Yo ass fucking up my business.
All right. So that's been the episode. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks for coming.